Hello there folks, it's me, Fraz, back with another history video. This episode will be covering, that's right, you guessed it, the so-called illegal items on NB9T. Please note that, for obvious reasons, this video will only cover the subject up until the end of 2018. What's an illegal item anyway? I define as illegal an item that is not obtainable in survival but that, for one reason or the other, does exist on NB9T. I will follow this definition throughout the video, so don't bitch about what is and isn't illegal in the comments. Narrating for us, we have two very famous players. First one is ParadigmPlague, one of the original members of the Legion group on 4B14 and later on 9B9T, member of K2 and BT Cat Island, a few Jeff bases and more, and the first moderator ever appointed on the subreddit. Now, the second one was supposed to be Riga, but he's lazy and kept delaying the video, so instead I called ZimTheDestr0yer. Now, Zim is really new, having joined in 2019, but considering his status as a member of Jeff Island, rest in pieces by the way, and that he's probably seen more illegals than he ever will, I'm willing to make an exception to the no new friends rule and let him narrate. Since this video is very long overdue, I'll just let Paradigm step in without further wasting your time.
In the earliest days, JJ didn't really expect the server to blow up like it did. Nobody expected this. It was a clone, just like a billion others, a place to fuck around with your friends. That mindset reflected on JJ's careless actions, especially in the very first months. It's pretty widespread knowledge that Bezo had OP for a few moments in the early days. That's how the first illegals started to appear on the server. In truth, he could have spawned pretty much anything, but I'll stick with those that are public knowledge and I'm able to speak about. At our 1 mil base, we were having problems with infighting. At some point, we found Bezo was hoarding public base items in a makeshift hidey hole. This included a failed potion room and an illegal mob spawner. There was also dispute about who was the leader of the group. Spoiler alert, there wasn't one. Also, adding drama was Bezo's insistence on building a museum on the nether roof to display all of the nice stuff we had, but shouldn't have. A lone potion block can be standing on that roof there to this day. When the base was eventually griefed by Destiny, one of their members, maybe your mom, aka Demon Doggy, had found it. Most of the stuff was lost, but in the chaos, maybe your mom managed to steal some skeleton eggs carelessly left in a chest. He later duped them and distributed them to his friends. That was the first illegal item to leak, quote unquote, though it wouldn't be widespread until later on in the server.
And what's next? The infamous members-only jacket. You see, what most people don't know is that there was not a single model. The standard jacket had protection and unbreaking 10, projectile protection, and fire protection 99. And that is the one that was distributed among most of the Legion members. However, that was likely an accident. Now, Goose had a different variant. Instead of having protection 10, he had protection 0. And ironically, Goose's underpowered chestplate was the one to survive the longest in its original form. Other types of illegal chestplates have existed on 9B9T, but these are the most common ones nowadays. Understandably, when Bezo had the brilliant idea of going to spawn with the jacket on display, the community erupted in rage. Rumor of the existence of those jackets were already widespread, as all of the Legion members had been discreet about their existence. However, up until that event, most players called bullshit on the claims and screenshots. As a reaction, JJ wiped Bezo's player data, and he only came back a few months later. The jackets of the other members, however, survived, and so did many of the other legals that were unknown at the time. And they went with Legion to the World Corner, where they could be safely used and left around.
So, when did JJ start cracking down on these OP items? It happened in early September. After several passages, the skeleton eggs had gotten in the hands of a player named Heat 1804, part of a minor group known as Euphora. Heat had the brilliant idea of bragging about the eggs in chat. Now, bragging is something certain players do on a daily basis, but Heat also posted screenshots of his eggs. Little did he know, JJ was watching. When that happened, JJ slash-killed Heat and took away the eggs. Legion, JJ's former basemates, were still suspected of owning those and much more. After many complaints about his supposed double standards, JJ coded and installed the first item limiting plugin. This plugin would, however, only affect the items that were of public domain. It would turn the eggs into stone and revert the jackets to a normal enchantment level. This left the little-known other items still in circulation.
For other illegals to start going around, we'd have to wait to the end of autumn. Colt 5, a previously unknown player, rose enormously in popularity after joining the Auschwitz base. And from there, got himself a name for finding bases, one after the next, supposedly using a chunk scanning mod of his own development. Now, basing on the accounts, we approximate it to be a precursor to New Chunk. Colt, however, didn't use all of his power for exploiting the server. He also offered JJ his help with developing patches for exploits he had discovered. Well, this is, of course, after he used them himself a little bit. And in doing so, he allowed himself to get close to JJ, the members of NBT, and to what was left of Legion. Colt and Turt 1, two members of Auschwitz, used the Pearl teleport exploit to reach all the world corners. Presumably, this is how Colt got access to illegal items. Through Colt, a few items that were thought to have disappeared resurfaced at Auschwitz. The jackets, and specifically the variant that Goose had with Protection 0, which apparently wasn't affected by JJ's plugin, and a reverted incomplete jacket with Protection and Projectile Protection 5. Due to Miniman including the latter into kits, it soon became a rather common item.
As massive super player Colt was on the rise in popularity, JJ had spawned in the first player heads on the server. JJ somehow accidentally teleported the player AIDS Cure to Minecart 11's base Midgard. As compensation for his actions, he gave the Midgard boys, Minecart and Zelice, their own player heads. He also gave AIDS Cure his own head, with the request to not leak the base or grief it. The deal was sealed, and the heads were spawned. In a way, the second batch of heads were also spawned in due to that base. Sciotos Green griefed that base on an alt Minecart 11 didn't know about. JJ, probably thinking it wasn't a big deal, revealed to Minecart 11 that it was Sciotos' account that griefed the base. As compensation for this, JJ spawned some heads for Sciotos, Swagnus, Fibular, Herobrine, Dr. 693. This was a typo, as the intended target was Dr. 698, and presumably his own.
The next illegal item to have been leaked to the public was the so-called potion block, the end portal frame. It wasn't actually spread around, but the community realized that such a block existed on the server. The MBT guys had those blocks, and revealed them to the community by posting a few screenshots on the subreddit. However, that was thought to be faked by many. Presumably, they had obtained them through Sciotos, who got them from a Legion base and later duped them. When Remastered Cod and his crew raided NBT, they found end portals there. Jot, a member of the crew, managed to steal 13 frames for himself.
It's no secret that 30mm Overworld stash is one of the largest on the server, and still around in an unknown location, having been moved nearly a dozen times. The coordinates to this stash were made public, and many people came and went as they pleased. This brought together big players and fostered the trade of illegal items, maps, player heads, and the likes. Turtle and Colt stole a lot of illegals from the Legion base and presumably stashed them at their own base at 30mm Nether to be retrieved at a later time. However, they left behind a lot of stuff. A contest during the first anniversary of the server caused a few player heads to be spawned in for the winners. Among these were Flashback and Miniman 392. In late 2017, a player named 99Y, who had built himself a reputation for finding several bases, among which Auschwitz, decided to head for the corner and reach the Legion base.
But 99Y's biggest achievement was, of course, ruining JJ's sorry excuse for an April Fool's joke. The 1st of April, 2018 is a very important date for illegals, and for the server, because it really shows that JJ never does learn. The April Fool's event was the following. Players had a chance to drop their heads when killed with a sword, and so did mobs, though mobs had a much lower chance. At this point, Bezo, who had just come back to 9b9t, was trusted by JJ with a task. No spawn fagging was to happen on April Fools. He was sent to spawn with a sharpness 9999 sword with the order to kill everyone in sight. Nothing too hard, right? Wrong. 99Y managed to kill Bezo and steal the sword, then pretend to lose it and cover up the traces. He brought the sword to his corner at his Jeff base and proceeded to dupe it as soon as the right occasion came.
The most recent illegals originated in what is known as JJ's worst idea ever, 9b9t's 2-year anniversary. Due to the event base getting raided 2 times for a variety of reasons, JJ gave up on recycling the first anniversary idea. He instead, for some reason, thought it would be smart to livestream a few of his friends building a base in creative mode. Among these friends, you guessed it, there was Bezo Pazan. 9b9t's second anniversary was the main cause of illegal items being leaked. Nobody knows how many illegals were crafted and hid for later recovery. For sure, we know that the famous 2YA sword, the sword with every single enchantment, was crafted on this night. Furthermore, the second anniversary event was also the reason behind illegal items being leaked.
Lambadger, one of the players who obtained creative, gave his friend, DYU, many illegal items, both new and already existing. Among these, bedrock, in-portal frames, silverfish blocks, etc. DYU, who back then was a member of Jeff Base, brought his illegals to the corner, where they were duped and stored safely, for a while. The chunk dupe came around, and Riga was one of the first players to understand how it worked. So he was invited to Jeff Base in order to dupe them efficiently. Riga, of course, duped them, and to ensure that the illegals would never be lost, he hid them in several stashes across the map.
Sorry to disappoint you, but that's all for this episode. It was pretty intense, I'd say. In the future I might make a second part of this video covering more recent developments. By the way, let me know in the comments if you have any specific subjects you'd like us to cover. This is all, and I guess I'll see you next time.